The honourable member for Yorkton Melville has 5 minutes for right of reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As we close second reading on the Sex-Selective Abortion Act, I have some thoughts to share. I would like to thank my colleagues on both sides of this House for contributing to the debate. Regardless of our political stances, parliamentarians have begun to have the important discussion that Canadians have been asking us to have on this universally condemned practice. 84% of our constituents have been clear that an evaluation of sex-selective abortion and its place in our country is overdue. I am glad that this House, this minority parliament, has begun to honour their wishes. We should not be afraid to have this conversation. Despite claims to the contrary, sex-selective abortion does not fit within a rigid understanding of abortion in Canada. Let's remember that a majority of Canadians would like to continue to have access to abortion, and that's what makes this debate so unique. It's clear that Canadians identify and treat sex selection as a standalone human rights issue. The medical community, cultural groups, and those with divergent views on the matter of abortion believe that this procedure, performed solely on the basis of sex, is fundamentally wrong. As I've said many times during the course of this discussion, the vast majority of those who would like sex selection to be made illegal are, in fact, pro-choice. Not pro-abortion for any reason, but pro-choice. These facts should send a strong message to everyone in the House. We have a mandate from Canadians to act. As Dr. Kylie Williams, MD, has said, we are finally in a position to stop selective abortion. It is very rare in politics when we're presented with a bill that all parties can support. There are no Canadian political parties that do not support a woman's right to life. Indeed, I was encouraged to hear from my colleagues throughout this debate that they believe sex-selective abortion is wrong. So why are these members against passing this bill into law? And then why should we be gripped with this discussion and treat it with the seriousness that it deserves? As direct representatives of the people of Canada, we were elected to defend all Canadians' equality before and under the law, regardless of race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. We have an obligation to address gaps in our laws that fail to meet this standard. The continued practice of sex-selective abortion is a glaring hole in our laws that denies equal rights to Canadians on the grounds of age and sex at a minimum. It needs to stop, and we have the power to do so. Furthermore, we were each sent to this place to enact reforms that Canadians want. That is a key reason why I introduced this bill, and I'm so proud of it. Poll after poll tells us that Canadians' tolerance for sex selection has run out. Rather than resorting to tired accusations that do not speak to the heart of this bill, we have the opportunity to judge it for what it is. It is a reasonable limit on abortion that forms just one part of a response to the prevalence of sex-selective practices. On this issue, parliamentarians should abandon absolutist narratives on the abortion debate and accept that Canadians have identified a key problem that is in need of a legislative solution. Speaker, I truly believe that this House has taken the first step on behalf of women and girls in addressing a persistent human rights failure. Indeed, as the only democratic country internationally that lacks a sex-selective law, the world is looking at Canada to fill its void. The debate that we have had on this bill will not soon be forgotten by Canadians and the human rights community. But it's one thing to permit a debate to take place. It is an entirely different thing to take the necessary action to rectify the tragedy of sex-selective abortion. This Parliament has the power to make a bold statement in defence of equality between the sexes in the next generation. Canadians are counting on us to make that important decision now so that future generations can benefit from them later. I'm asking my colleagues to continue to honour Canadians' wishes by taking the next step forward and vote in favour of C-233. To me, the choice couldn't be clearer. We can, on one hand, allow divisive politics to continue to obscure this debate and permit the deliberate termination of baby girls to continue duly on their sex, because of their sex. Or on the other hand, we can take a bold stand for women in this country, see this bill for what it is, and pass a prohibition on sex-selective laws. We can send clear messages both here and around the world about the values our country stands for and also what it doesn't permit. I know our nation is behind this bill, and want it to be sent to committee so it can receive the debate and constructive scrutiny it deserves. Finally, Speaker, I rest my case for today. I know I have represented the concerns and desires of the majority of those who have all been called here to serve to see the Sex-Selective Abortion Act become law in Canada. Thank you.
It being 2:50, the time provided for debate has expired. Accordingly, the question is as follows. Mrs. Wagantall, seconded by Mr. Provencher, move that Bill C-233, an act to amend the criminal code, sex-selective abortion, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights. Si un député ou une députée,
if a member of a recognized party present in the House wishes to request a recorded division, or that the motion be adopted on division, I would invite them to rise and indicate it to the chair.
the honourable member for Yorkton Melville.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I would request a recorded division.
Pursuant to